royalty. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty.
Tell me, who is she? Why is she here? She is our sister. The words come out in an unrestrained yell from all three of them at once. Your eyes widen. The ground beneath you seemed to disappear. Sister, you whispered, your step instinctively retreating. Their expression darkened. A veil of something unreadable shadowing their face. Yes, she is my queen, the only princess of this house, but years have everything ended that night when he stopped abruptly, his words catching in throat as your eyes widened, locked onto his. He gulped. When our mother died. His voice dropped to a low whisper, his gaze flickered away, unable to meet yours. For the first time you saw it, the pain buried deep in their dark eyes, the sorrow they had been hiding all along. You took a step closer, observing their hardened expression. Then why did you lock your sister in that room? Why didn't you get her medical help? Dad tried. He brought in the best doctors from around the world, but the trauma was too severe. Tiara never cooperated with the treatment. Nora does not listen to anyone. She sees everyone as our mother's killer except us. There was a defeated look in his eyes. You turned to him, taking in the sorrow ache on his face. Your mother was murdered. Your voice wavered with shock. All three of them clenched their fists. Their distress was evident. They were holding back. Maybe the memories were too much. Maybe they did not want to remember. Can I see her? Your voice come out hesitant, unsure. Their head snapped toward you, shock flashing across their features. You want to meet Tiara after what just happened? She would not be able to harm me in your presence, right? Unhappy silence stress between you all four. They gave us life, no, without another one. We took a slow, deliberate step forward. We all moved toward Tiara's room, and Tian slowly pushes open the door. As we step inside, my eyes scan the entire space. The room, thought table light was clean. A bed set in the middle, a washroom to the side, and all the necessary things were in place. That's when my gaze lands on Tiara. She sits with her back facing us. We move a few steps closer, and sensing our presence, she turns around. The moment her eyes meet mine, they flare red with rage. She storms toward me in her step, reaching for my neck, but just in time, Tian grabs hold of her. Let me go, I will kill her. She is my mom's mother. Let me go. She staggered in Tian's left jaw, voice trembling with fury. Tiara, whispered, she did not kill our mom. His voice is calm but firm, and Tiara twitches. Her eyes lock onto his. He gives her a soft, assuring nod. Yes, she is not our mother's killer. Calm down, sit. He gently leads her to the bed. Tiara sits with an unreadable expression on her face, eyes scanning everyone in the room. I want to be with Mom, Papa. Her voice breaks as she speaks. The Jeon brothers gulp, unable to fulfill her desperate plea. Jimin and Jungkook sit beside her. Tiara, we can't go to Mom. Try to understand. No, I want to go, Mom. You don't even come to see me. I am all alone. I can't stay here. The three brothers look at her with deep concern, and you feel the pain act on their face as if they are powerless to help their sister. But we are here now, are not we? Don't you want to stay with us? Nona, don't you love us? I love all three of you, but maybe you don't. You only visit to force that bitter medicine down my throat. She pouts, and you are stunned. Just a moment ago, she was furious. Now she is calm, almost childlike, maybe because of her brothers. We will keep coming, Tiara, but first take your medicine. He pulls the medicine from the drawer and holds it out to her. She shakes her head. No, I don't want it. You are always forcing me. It's necessary for your better health. Everyone's eyes shift to you. You look at anger but confusion. Who are you? You are not my mom's killer. No, I'm not. not. My name is Ryan and I. Your words falter. You glance at the three brothers. They see the hesitation in your eyes. They sigh and turn back to Tiara. She is our wife, John Ryan. Tiara's eyes widen in shock. She looks from them to you. You are really my brother's wife? Not just one. She is the wife of all three of us. Tiara's eyes grow even wider. But why? I mean, all three of you. It's a long story. Forget that now. Just take your medicine. Tiara looks at you. You step toward her, hesitant but determined to reach out. Look, Tiara, what happened to your mom was tragic, but don't punish your brothers for it. They care for you. You can heal and live a better life. Don't just exist in this room. Try to leave. I can't. I'm not normal. I can't be normal. Her voice is hollow. You sit in front of her. Yes, you can. You are strong even after everything. And your brothers, they are your family. You can live a joyful life with them. Tiara looks at her brother. Sees the concern and love in their eyes. And for the first time, she realizes, despite her mom's death, she is not alone. She still has family. Yes, they are my family. They love me like mom, dad did, maybe even more. Then you need to return that love. You need to live happily with your brothers. I want to live with you too, Ryan. She speaks through teary eyes. A soft smile spread across everyone's face. You know gently. We all live together as a family, but for that you need to get better. You have to take your medicine and go to treatment. I will live happily with my family, not alone in this room, isolated. With a faint smile, she takes medicine from the young's hand and swallows it. You all head with her for a walk, talk to her, and once she's leave, you all quietly leave the room. It's been over a week since I met Tiara, and through this behind the aggressive shell, there is a type of girl who is slowly beginning to emerge. The doctors are treating her and she is cooperating most of the time, but there are still moments where she reports, where she once again sees the doctor as her mom's minors, but we are always there, especially her brothers. We are the only one who can calm her down. But you know what? It's surprising. Tiara starts to open up to me even more than she does to her brother, and watching that even they are like amazed that time. We have started becoming friends, and today as I went down the stairs with my project in hand, because I have a presentation and project submission at the university, I entered the living room and all three of my husband, looking devilishly handsome as always, turned their gaze toward me. I offered them a tight-lipped smile, already bracing myself for the storm of caution that's about to hit me going somewhere. And what's that in your hand? He speaks with raised brow, and both Deong and Jungkook turn to look at you. This is my college project. I have to submit it today, so I am going. No, you are not going anywhere, he says firmly, and you narrow your brow at him, looking straight into his eyes. Why not? Look, this submission is important. I have been attending online classes for days now. You speak with a pout, and the three of them sigh. Give me the project. I will have it delivered to you. Only through someone. He runs a hand through his hair as he speaks. You shake your head and step closer to them. It's not just a submission. I have to give a presentation too. You don't need to give any presentation. We will handle everything. Your mask won't get detected. I promise. He gives you a reassuring nod, but you shake your head and sit down on the sofa beside them. I have spent days working on this project and preparing for the presentation. I am not letting my hard work go to waste. Please let me go. I will take hearts with me. You hold Jimin's arm as you speak. Your voice laced with stubbornness. The three of them could feel it. Jimin gently removes your hand from his arm and speaks calmly. Listen, wifey, we can't take a test with your security. You know what's happening outside. His tone is calm, but there is a clearly undercurrent of restrained anger. You get frustrated. What kind of protection and security is this? You will not even let me step outside. You have locked me in this mansion in the middle of nowhere. You raise your voice slightly, and all of three of them look at you with clenched jaw. You can see from their expression that they are trying to hold back their anger. You are not safe outside right now. There are enemies who they are your enemies. You are the king. Why would they be after me? I can't sacrifice my freedom because of your enemies. You lash out and their eyes darken, all three staring at you intensely. Jungkook are powerless king. You shouted the last two sentences, and all three of them stand their heads toward you. Jiang stands up with poker face, even grabs your wrist and pulls you toward him. If anyone else had dared to say those words to us, they would not be able to utter another. We don't know what's going on out there right now. We can't let you go, not with anyone, not trusting anyone when we already know someone can snatch you away from us. He muttered the last part about his jungle as you looked at them and you were in their eyes. Yet still warning them. It's you, voice forward, and your eyes begin to tear. They will go to you. You want to go to university, then you will have to go with me again. You place your palm on his hand against my appear on your face. I'm sorry, but I said I'm really sorry. You said you were all three of them. They nod, a small smile on their faces. Oh, now you are getting late. He kisses your temple gently. You pick up your project, wave them by, and tear the mention with them. You sat in the passenger seat while Tiang was driving. His eyes were fixed on the road, and there was a pin drop silence in the car. You stole a glance at him, dressed in a black shirt and matching pants. He looked like he owned the color. It seemed to him like a second skin, influencing the whole aura he carried so effortlessly. Just then he looked at you, Prince. He said it in his deep voice, and your eyes were as you stared at him. Without blinking, a soft chuckle escaped his lips, seeing your surprised expression. Blink, Princess, he took a right turn as you blinked slowly, laughing. Are you at home? You pointed at yourself as you asked, and he smiled. Is there anyone else here? You gave a small awkward smile to him, feeling ridiculed and stumbled. You turned your gaze to the window, finding fingerprint getting down. Looked at you again, sensing attention. Princess, you snapped your head toward him, seeing your tense face and moist eyes. He frowned and suddenly hit the brakes. You looked at him, confused. Come here. He patted his lap. You slowly climbed into his lap, keeping your gaze down, unable to meet the darkness in his eyes. Spelled it out. You looked at him with a slight frown. Just then he pulled you in by your wrist and cupped your cheeks with his long, rough hands, his other hand gently stroking your back. Release your tears. His words made your heart sink, and your tears fell. He gently wiped them with his thumb. Tell me what's wrong, he spoke calmly. You sniffled, feeling the comfort of his hand. Still moving on your back, and looked up at him. I am afraid of what I am right here. Nothing will happen. He thumped your cheeks with his thumb, and you was for the presentation. You said. He looked at you dumbfounded. You were crying over presentation, silly girl. He asked, astonished. You shook your head. It's not silly. I'm terrified. I always avoid speaking in public because of my identity as the mafia's daughter. But today I want to step forward. I want to do this on my own, and even though I have prepared so much, I am still scared. If you have prepared, what's there to be afraid of? You don't get it. I'm not fearless like you. But just speak in front of people. I can't overcome this hesitation and anxiety. Ever since I was kid, people have keep their distance because of who I am. No one wanted to be friend with me. When the teacher feared me, I have always been surrounded by guards, suffocating so many people around me, but no one would talk. I don't know how to speak my heart without hesitation. You speak in a low voice. Tiang listened attentively, gently looking at a strand of your hair. You know, when I used to go to university before, people looked at me like I was crazy. No one stood by me. No one came near me. I'm alone, hesitant, scared, weak. No, my princess is strong. You are our strength for all three of us. Even dad saying you are a treasure. Those people don't deserve to speak to you. And who said you are alone? I'm here, Chipin, Jammu, and now Tiara is with you too. We keep you away from people I know, so now it's hard to get in. You hesitate, you get nervous, but I will become that person, the one who listens to you, talk to you, never lets you feel alone, someone you can always open up to without a second thought. He gave you a small smile, you blink your tear, silently alluring that smile. You will be that person. I will be. He pulls you into an embrace. You clutch his shirt tightly, losing yourself in his warmth, in his words. I will become your comfort place, your safe place. Promise. He murmurs, pressing a kiss to your forehead. After staying in his Paris Havil, the two of you head to the university and enter the building. Where are you coming, Tiong? I am coming with you into your classroom. He said casually, and you widen your eyes. No, you can't come inside. Wait here. You grab his arm. He looks at you with those intense eyes. You stamp your foot in frustration. Now what with that stare? I am coming in with you, he says in an ordering tone and grabs your wrist, pulling you inside. He opens the door, and lost, dead silent. Professor and student eyes stand with wide eyes seeing him. They ignore everyone and sit on a chair like a king. He's signaling you to go to the professor. We don't have time, hurry up. He speaks to the professor who nods, crossing his legs, his gaze stuck on you. You submit your project and stand to present. Everyone's eyes are on you. Your face showed obvious nervousness. Your palm turned sweaty. Your hand clenched the edge of your dress. You noticed he stood up and walked to you. Your eyes stuck on him. He had both your palms in his hand. There is no need to be nervous. I am here. No one will judge you, and I believe in you. You can do this. You have prepared, right? You gulp and nod. You could feel your hand trembling. But I feel so anxious. Everyone's staring at me because you are the main character right now. Look, I can make them all lower their gaze if you want, but I don't want my lady to be someone who can't look in others' eyes. My princess gaze can't be lower. I believe in you, and you should believe in your preparation. You know, he gave you hand one last squeeze and returned to his seat. You looked at him once more, and somehow just focusing on his eyes, you made it through your entire presentation. Not once did you look at anyone else. His presence grounded you, gave you the courage you did not know you had. When it was done, you walked out of the room. Yes, thank you so much. Because of you, I spoke in front of everyone without hesitation for the first time. You wrapped your arms around his neck in excitement. He was taken back by your hug. It was first time. He smiled and wrapped his arm around your waist, snuggling into the crook of your neck, giving you goosebumps. You were only looking at me the entire time. Princess, the nervousness is not completely gone yet. He says, the hand still resting on your waist. It's because only your presence did not make me nervous, and the fact that I spoke in front of everyone, that alone means a lot to me. You say in a cheerful voice, all right, I know, so you will face the world without hesitation, without nervousness, and impress your courage. Of course, after all, I am the wife of the great Mafia king. Hey, hey. You laugh and start walking ahead. He watches you with a smile on the spreading across his heart at your word. My little boy, my lady, he whispers softly, following behind you. On a dark night, you sat in the backyard where the stubby lad Tiara had been talking to you. A coffee cup sat on the table emptied by you, and you were lost in your thoughts. A cool breeze kissed your face as if bringing you back to reality. Just then, Jimin and Jungkook arrived, and seeing you lost, they come and sit beside you. Wifey, you come out of your thought, hearing his voice, and see both of them seated on either side of you. What happened? Where are you lost? He places his index finger under your chin, looking into your eyes as he speaks. Nothing, you say with a small smile, but it does not convince them. That's when Jimin cups your face. Tell us what happened. Why are you sad? He asks, and your lips begin to tremble. You tell me if it's someone's special day and there is no celebration, no wishes. How would that feel? Both of them frown, and Jungkook rubs his temple. Whose special day is it? Mine. It's my birthday today. You say with a hard voice as their eyes widen, and Jungkook immediately kneels in front of you. Today is your birthday, he says in shock and checks the time on his wristwatch. Only 3 hours left before your birthday, and we are sorry. You were not shocked hearing his sorry thought. It's rare he has said sorry before when he was wrong. I feel invisible. Your cracked voice makes both of their hearts sing. I'm sorry, princess. Then tears slip from your eyes, breaking their heart. They had not realized when you become so important to them, but your sadness now hurt them. We never mean to hurt you, but it does hurt sitting alone on my birthday as if means nothing. No friends to wish me, no me with gifts like he used to. Your broken voice fills them with guilt, and Jungkook pulls you into her, burying you in his arms. We are your family, baby. Don't ever say you are alone after that. I can't have someone in this world as I am bound to you. Your words marble against his chest, and they both understand what you mean. Being bound to them means enmity with this world, a world beneath their feet. You don't need this world. We are enough for you, my lady. He strokes your back as he says this. We are here for you, princess. You don't reply, just let yourself melt into his embrace. Jungkook looks down and sees your eyes closed, then lift you into his arms. I'm take her to the room, Jungkook, and give you a kiss on forehead. Jungkook places you on the bed and goes to bathroom to fresh up. After some time, he returns, changes, lie down beside you, and wraps his arm around you. Don't leave me, I am alone. You open in your sleep, look into his chest, and your princess, he tightens his grip around you. You stayed. The bed felt colder, and you slowly opened your eyes, finding yourself alone. Jungkook, you mumble, but the space beside you out of the bed, walk softly through the mansion hallway. Where did Jungkook? You reach the grand staircase. The entire mansion seems darkness will feel strange, but then you blinked, stunned as a soft melody began to play. Fairy lights lit up the space, rose petals scattered on the floor. The hall glowed with candlelight, and there in the center you find Jungkook, Jimin, Jung, and Tiara standing behind a table that holds a cake decorated with flowers and light. You stand amazed. Happy birthday, Vine. You breathe it, and you take a step forward. What? All three step forward. Happy birthday to our little wife. Their voice soft and gentle smile overwhelmed you. You never thought they had managed to arrange all this in so little time. It's not lavish, but their sweet gesture fills your heart with warmth. How did you do all this in such a short time? You ask in amazement and all chuckle. We just had to do it for you. We know this does not meet your expectation, but we did not have much time, and not remembering your birthday on time, that's our fault too. We should have remembered it. We are sorry, princess, he said while holding your hand in his. It's okay anyways, I don't like crowd where I still feel alone. Jimin gently wraps his arm around you and kisses your temple. Let's cut the cake, only 15 minutes left, you note, and three of them guide you to the table. You begin cutting the cake well. They all sing happy birthday. They feed you cake one by one, and you do the same, feeding Tiara last. The night passes with laughter, conversation, and joy, giving a glimpse of a new beginning. In a room filled with weapons, three men dressed in black sat on the couch in the middle, their presence radiating their dominant aura. Jimin with his legs spread, rested with her secret in his hand. The right beside him sat Jungkook, taking a long puff. Across from them, Taeyong had a glass of drink in his hand, speaking on call. No, we haven't found any trace of Wilson yet, Dad, he says in a deep voice, taking a sip. He has no connection with our enemies or our allies. Seems like he wants to go against us alone. This enemy caused him dearly, Dad. He has not come out in the open yet, which means his target is only us, the Jones. If we are his only target, then he will come fully prepared. No matter how prepared someone is, they can't destroy their enemy unless they know their weakness, and we have no weakness. Still, stay alert. Don't underestimate the man because of whom your mom and Vine's parents lost their lives. He says cautiously, and you respond with a warm, take care of Vine and Tiara. Both ladies will be protected, Dad. He reassured and the God blessing the phone on the table. Even Dad does not know where Wilson is. He asks with a raised brow, and Taeyong shakes his head in no. Just then a card entered, and most of your mem has returned. Then picks up a meeting with Mr. Sheen tomorrow. The cards note and leaves. Everyone was seated at the dining table, having dinner. Vine was seated between Jimin and Jungkook, with Taeyong on Jimin's other side, and Sophie and Tiara on the opposite side. So everything is fine now between your boyfriend and Dad, he asks, and Sophia looks at him with a sigh. They are in a better connection now. She resumed meeting with Jungkook's gestured to Vine, who was playing with her food instead of eating it. Princess, don't play with the food, eat it, he says softly, and your hands stop moving. I don't want to eat, you reply, showing your disinterest. Skipping meals is not good for your health. You need to eat at least a little, he says firmly, and you won't. I don't like it. You stand up stubbornly, refusing, which makes Jungkook close and then open his eyes so tight. Taeyong and Jimin notice his rising anger. I say sit down and eat. You are not living without eating, he says in stern voice, stopping your steps. You frown, noticing the change in his tone. Who are you ordering around? You ask angrily, and everyone at the table watches where this is going. Jungkook firms and stand up. I'm your husband, he yells, and you glare at him irritably, watching the tension between your eyes. Jim grabs your wrist and pulls you into his lap. You said, Jungkook, I will feed her, he says calmly. Jungkook pokes his tongue inside his cheek and sits back down. Will Jimin hold a spoon toward you? I want to eat. He was yelling at me. You pout, complaining about one husband to other. You were being stubborn, that's why. Skipping meals is not right, he says gently, and you finally start eating. Tiara smiles, watching her brothers caring for their wife. You were sitting on the bed in the dark. Only the side lamp was on, casting its light on you. Just then the door opens and Jungkook walks in. He takes off his wristwatch and places it on the table. Then his eyes falls on you, Princess, he says, but you don't respond. He frown, watching you, and walk closer, sitting by your feet. Princess, I call you. You look at him with a blank face and get up to sit on the couch. His heart drops at your action. He gets down on his knees beside you. Princess, are you ignoring me? If you are upset at me, be angry, he said in a low voice. When you turn your face away desperately, he sits beside you, and just as you are about to stand up, he lies down with his head in your lap. Jungkook move, you say sternly, but he shakes his head with a sad pout with duality. as you ignore his pout. I said, get up off my lap. You are not a child, Jacob. Yes, I am the same child who is silently endured being ignored. Doll, don't do this to me now. You frown at him, and the hurt on his face is evident. He takes your hand in his palm. Do whatever you want, but please don't ignore me. I can't tolerate it. I have been alone since childhood. Besides being a blood-bound weapon for fighting, I never known a moment of care except from my mom. But after her, it's only you are the only one whose care I crave, whose care will calm my soul. Your mom loved you a lot. You say as your finger run through his hair, watching the peace relaxed his face so much. I was the youngest son in the house. She loved me more than anything. She always keeps so many gifts in her room for us. Every time we went there, we find something waiting for us. You notice the soft smile on his lips and realize he's opening up in front of you for the first time, like the painful memory hidden behind these dark eyes are finally surfacing. The room, the one you punished me for entering. He nods and stands up. You look at him in astonishment as he grabs your wrist and leads you out of the room, taking you toward his room, mom's room. You both enter, and the charm of the room once again spread before you. Jungkook walks forward and picks up a toy from the table. She bought this to give to me, but she never got the chance to give it. He takes a deep breath, trying to control his emotion. You look at him with concern. Then he continues, walking a bit forward. This is where mom used to play with me. I was her beloved son. Being the youngest felt like a privilege, which vanished after her death. He let out a sad chuckle. You gently caress his knuckles with your thumb, offering silent comfort. Everything ended that night, princess. Everything was taken from me, he says in a broken tone and sits down on the bed, covering his face with his palm. You sit beside him, removing his hands from his face. Tell me what happened that night. How did your mother die? He looks at you, a broken, wounded soul, and you move closer, holding his palm in your. You have to let it out, the pain, that sorrow. I'm here to wrap you in my arm, you say with hope, wishing he would open up and let it all out. My dad had a friend, they were best friends. He had a little daughter too. One day they have visited us, but slowly a misunderstanding grew and they start fighting. Dad's friend pulled a gun, but mom took the bullet to save dad. That's how it all escalated. Dad shot his friend back and his wife died too. While saving him, he lowered his eyes in sorrow. You cupped his face, noticing the tears in his eyes. You saw so much at such a young age. I know it must have hurt deeply. You were strong. He shakes his head and wraps his arm around you, burying his face in crook of your neck. His words suddenly cause your back to touch the bed. I'm not strong, princess. I'm not. My physical strength means nothing against my emotional weakness. I did not even mourn my mother's death. I did not even get to see her. For last time we had to leave in an emergency. We could not even give her a final goodbye. I did nothing for her. He convinced her of his soul. You gently caress his hair, laying him beside you. You were over him on one elbow, watching his red tear-stained face. After mom was gone, dad changed. He became strict. He only cared for you. He sent us away for training. He's like a child, melting your heart. You're always just trying to calm him. Now I am here. I will love you. Please don't cry. You wipe his tear and press a kiss to his forehead. He closes his eyes, applying your lips. You lean back, watching. He looks into your eyes, grab your neck and lean in, his lips brushing your butterfly erupt in your stomach. I need it, he said in a hoarse voice, and finding no hesitation in your eyes. Which intensifies his desire for you. In a one sweet motion, he pulls off his t-shirt. You look at him with worried eyes. Why did you take off your shirt? You watched her as you were very well leaning. My heart is still resting. I can't calm down. I saw you dressed and miss it's you, princess. His words give you goosebumps as he moved closer to your ear, just like you said. Love me, princess. Breath me. He whispers, liking your ears. Love his lip gently touch you. Or you close your eyes, you but feel nothing. Literally, you open them and find him laying beside you, smoking. You want me? He teases with smoke. You glare at him, just about to get up when he pulls you on the top of him. I told you not to ignore me, he says, locking a strand of your hair around his finger. You lower your eyes only to find yourself staring at his well-built chest and his perfect abs. Your hand automatically reaches out to touch them, and Jungkook smug, enjoying your husband's body around you. You look at him and pinch him. He helped, and you raise a paw at him. So you plan on having someone else enjoy this body too. Your tone will become dominant and Jungkook pulls you closer by the waist. No one in it even worthy of seeing me like this except my ladies, he says
stay like that in each other's arms. Then you look up at him, the daughter of dad's friend. Where is she now? You question steadily. Was it me? Supervised by the slightly seeing his shocked expression, you start laughing in place with calm honesty. I was just joking. After all, why would you treat the daughter of your mom's mother with such love? Even dad loved me. I could not be that girl. You smiled, Jung just stares at you and slowly pulled you into his arms. I could never hurt you, my lady, he squished by gazing at your sleeping form, then kisses your forehead gently. In a dimly lighted room, a man and woman lay entangled on a king-size bed, lost in each other. Their body bare sound echoed through the room. Suddenly, a knock at the door broke the rhythm, freezing them in place. The man pressed a hand through his hair and rubbed, "Put your clothes on and get out of here." He threw money at her face, pulls lower, and sits down as the woman partly leaves the room. Moment later, a man in his 40s enters with stern face, holding a cigarette between his legs. "How many times have I told you, David, stop on your work?" he shouts. David rolled his eyes. "Dad, I have been David meeting. Just spare me the lecture and gets to the point. When do I get blown up under double window?" Wilson exhaled a puff with smoke. "Very soon, my son, very soon you will be the king of this game." "But how, Dad? The John are too powerful. A king can only be defeated with the help of a queen, and we will use a queen to my niece, John Wayne." He let out a meaning laugh and he sit cross-legged on the couch. "But how, Dad? Why would Wayne help us?" "Don't worry, I have found someone very close to the Johns. Through that person we will bring the Johns to their knees and crush them, and I will make you marry Wayne. That way the throne will be ours. But bringing them to their knees will not be easy. Betrayal can shatter a person, and that's when we can take advantage of their vulnerability." "Damn, you have got it all figured out. So when do we begin?" "Very soon. The fall of the Johns is near, very near." He burst into loud, big laugh.